What's going on, guys? Boss6 here, back to another video, and today, here to give you guys my Week 7 NFL predictions for 2025. Holy balls, dude. This season is just fucking weird. It is such a random-ass season, and I still don't know, a lot of us still don't know who's even a Super Bowl contender. Like, we thought for sure who we thought were going to be Super Bowl contenders. And now we don't. We really don't know who's even good at this point. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore, man. Like, it's been a weird year as it is. Somehow this NFL season's made things even weirder. So, yeah, I'm not going to waste anyone's time here. There was quite a few upsets this past week, but, man, there was a lot of ugly play that happened this past week. But hopefully it gets a little bit better as the season goes on. So, yeah, we're going to start off with the first game of the week 7. With tonight on Thursday Night Football, we've got an AFC North matchup. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Or, as the NFL will call it, the Unk Bowl, because it's Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco. The Unk Bowl. Apparently, society hasn't gotten more white, but I certainly digress. Anyways, the Steelers came off with a pretty decisive victory over the Cleveland Browns, with Aaron Rodgers leading the team to 4-1 because the division sucks ass. No, seriously, that's what the AFC North is. Literally, it's like the Luigi meme. The Steelers win by doing nothing. Like, seriously, they had a field day against Cleveland that a certain Yenzer by the name of one Mr. Urinating Tree was actually in attendance for. And my God, that was such a Steelers game that I was certainly expecting. Yeah, I mean, the Steelers really didn't have to do much. Their defense looked better than it has been in the past few weeks, but then again, they're going up against a pretty inept Browns offense. And then you got the Bengals on the other hand, where they came up a little bit close against the Green Bay Packers in Joe Flacco's debut, and he looked, I guess, okay. Excuse me. He looked better than Jake Browning, but then again, I could piss on the field and I would be doing better than Jake Browning. But yeah, this defense is terrible. The offense really hasn't been doing much. It's just another sad and dire year for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're just ready for the season to be over, and I can't honestly blame them. Not to mention, you got Trey Hendrickson and now apparently having a back injury. Apparently from carrying this whole fucking defense, but that's besides the point. This is going to be an ugly game. It is being played in Cincy. So the Steelers might be able to lose this game because it is being played in Cincinnati, and the Steelers do tend to play down the competition, and plus it is a divisional matchup. So we can only see where it goes from here. But based on who I thought was a better team, I am obviously going to go with the Steelers here. I wouldn't be shocked if Cincy wins this game, but I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Steelers because, yeah, it's not looking great, and yeah, this is just going to be an ugly game. But I think the Steelers are going to win this game pretty comfortably. Following that, we're going to go all the way to London for the Rams versus the Jaguars. The Rams coming off with a pretty good victory over the Baltimore Ravens, where they didn't really have to do a whole lot. At least the Ravens defense looked better, but that's not saying much. Yeah, it was a pretty comfortable 14-point win that they had. Unfortunately, they do lose Puka Nacua, which is a bit of a blow to their offense, but they still got Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. Tutu Atwell's doing all right for himself. So, at least Stafford still has his weapons, but yeah, it's not looking all that great for the Rams, but at least they're keeping it somewhat close, and they are fighting to get the number one, to get the top ranks of the NFC West, which I still don't know how that's even a three-way tie considering how the Niners are doing, but I'll get to them later. But yeah, the Rams had a pretty good game against the Ravens. Meanwhile, the Jags, that was a pretty frustrating game to watch. Like, Lawrence had so many opportunities to pull away with a win, but they just could not do anything on offense. And Seattle's secondary is banged up. They don't have a good chunk of their secondary, and they couldn't do anything. Their defense got 7 sacks on Lawrence last week, and Lawrence just could not do anything whatsoever, and it's just not looking great for Jacksonville. Excuse me. Considering that the Colts are still leading the AFC South, and we're still not 100% sure what how Lawrence is going to be this year. So this one's going to be probably a bit of an ugly matchup, and they were without Devin Lloyd, so I guess that counts for something. But I'm going to go with the Rams here. This one might actually not be half bad of a game. Hopefully it's better than last week's game, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be a terrible game, but it might not be the best either, so I'm going to go with the Rams, despite the fact they're not really doing a whole lot. They're at least making some games fun, which that's all you can really say about it. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams here. Not much more needs to be said. Following that, we've got the New Orleans Saints versus the Chicago Bears. The Saints. Holy rough ball there, mate. Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, the game against the Patriots may have looked close, but goddamn, dude. Almost every crucial play had a flag on it. Like, there were so many egregious penalties in it that we're saying for the fucking Patriots that they were getting bailed out by bad calls. If we're you know how bad the ref calls have been, that we're saying New England was getting fucked over. That is how bad the ref calls were. Like, there were so many bad pass interference calls in that game. It was atrocious. And it was against the Saints of all teams. I will say, Spencer Rattler has actually not been looking half bad, but the Saints still aren't really a good team whatsoever. They're making some things competitive, which I can safely say is better than another team I'm going to be talking about here in a bit. But, yeah, it's not looking great for the Saints, but they're making it competitive, so I guess that counts for something, I guess. Meanwhile, the Bears, on the other hand, got a massive win over Washington. They finally got the revenge against the Commies, and that was a very ugly game in terms of weather-wise. There was a lot of turnovers, especially a crucial fumble at the end by the Commies. Caleb did all right. That's kind of been him the entire season. Like, he's just been playing all right so far, except for, like, maybe the game against Dallas. But he's still trying to develop against the new offense, which, you know what, that's understandable. But, yeah, it's a little bit interesting to see how the Bears are going to be. DeAndre Swift had a pretty good game last week. So I'm kind of curious how the Bears are going to do against the Saints. Yeah. Son of a bitch. I apologize, folks. I didn't really get a whole lot of sleep last night, but yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how the Saints are going to do against the Bears. This one might be a bit of a closer game than some people might anticipate, but I am going to go with Chicago in the outset because they're on a bit of an up and up right now. They've got some momentum. I think they won 3 straight games. So, yeah, I think the Bears are doing pretty well for themselves. And Saints fans, at least you're keeping it close. That's all I can really say. Following that, oh boy, we've got the Carolina Panthers versus the New Jersey Jets. The Panthers, they got their first, for the first time in a fucking dog's age, they are 500! Yay! They have a 500 record. They are 3-3 now in the NFL, only third in the NFC South. They upset the Dallas Cowboys, which isn't really saying a whole lot considering how dog shit that defense is, but Bryce Young looked pretty good, but my goodness, the man of the hour, Rico Dowdle, completely laid the waste against his former team. I don't know why Dallas let him go, but the Panthers will take what they give. And, you know, say what you will about Bryce Young, he made throws that he needed to make, and T-Mac, Tetero McMillan, got his first touchdown of the year, so at least there's some progress being made with the Panthers. That's not what you can say about the Jets, because golly, Jesus Christ, this team is a fucking dumpster fire right now. They're the only winless team in the NFL right now, And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. That game against Denver set football back at least 20 years. That was atrocious football played on both sides of the ball. The only thing you could say that was good about the Jets that week is at least the defense looked decent, which is not saying a whole lot. And Aaron Glenn, this is backfiring so badly on the Jets right now. Justin Fields looked terrible on the field. He had 9 completions, which was the same amount of sacks that he got, and he had negative 10 passing yards. I can literally throw a football from my fat ass sitting on an office chair and have more passing yards than Justin Fields. It was embarrassing to watch in London, and thus London is paying for war crimes right now, but I certainly digress. This might be an ugly game here, guys. This one might not be a really good game because the Panthers, while they are a fun story, they are a bit of an ugly team to watch, and the Jets are, well, the Jets. So I wouldn't be shocked really if Carolina does lose this game. I wouldn't be too shocked if they do that because Carolina is they're just a weird team to watch. But I am going to go with the Panthers here. I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets win. This is not going to be a fun game to watch. Yeah, I don't know how to really feel about this one, guys. I really, really, really don't. But yeah, this is not going to be a fun game to watch, but I'll go with Carolina because at least they have some momentum going for them. Following that, we got an interesting matchup here. We've got the New England Patriots versus the Tennessee Titans, a Mike Vrabel revenge game. The Patriots, they are now atop of the AFC West. What the fuck, Buffalo? I thought you were on a revenge tour. But no, in all seriousness, you got to give credit where credit is due. Drake May is balling on the field. And if this is going to lead to yet another empire being built, we are completely fucked for the next 30 years. Because they may have gotten rid of the man, but they did not get rid of the idea. The ashes of the evil empire were still floating in the air after it crumbled after 2019, but I certainly digress. But yeah, the Patriots, even though they were trying to get fucked over by every call in the playbook, they were still able to get the win over the New Orleans Saints. Meanwhile, the Titans, on the other hand, it's just sad. It's just flat out depressing at this point. The only good thing that came out of that game against the Raiders was Brian Callahan got fired. I don't know why he didn't get fired last year, but I certainly digress. Now you got Mike McCoy, who is the interim head coach, who used to be with the Chargers. And I don't know if this is really going to do anything for the Titans personally. Cam Ward has not been looking all that great because really it's not really all of his fault. He just got no one to throw to, and B, that O-line is complete dog ass. But I certainly digress. The Patriots are probably just going to take them out behind the woodshed and just do a freaking Kurt Cobain special to them with a 12 gauge. Yeah, the Patriots are going to win this game. Even though the Patriots, they are a solid team, I don't think they're... I shouldn't say they aren't as good as their record says. I wouldn't say that. I think Drake May is absolutely ascending, and Trayvon Henderson is an absolute stud. And Stephon Diggs is somehow turning back the clock. I just think, their offensive line is still an issue, and their defense, at least when Gonzo is not on the field, their secondary is a little bit questionable, if you ask me. But, the Patriots, they're going to win this game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Following that, we've got a AFC West matchup between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders, well, you got to win over the Titans, but it was by petty theft. Geno Smith had another interception, but he didn't throw as many interceptions as many people have said. The Raiders right now, they're just kind of there. This whole thing with Smith and Carroll is not going to pan out. They need a quarterback for the future. Ashton Jeanty, that O-line better do something for him because if not, then he's going to have a wasted potential, maybe like Bo Jackson in a way. And the only thing that's keeping them really relevant is Max Crosby, and that's about it. Still, Brock Bowers is still out with that knee injury, which that's been a massive pain in the ass for him. He just can't stay healthy, and it looks like Jacoby Myers might actually get traded because he did not show up for practice at all. So, yeah, there's that. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, There was a lot of bullshit in that game against the Lions. Now, look, I can easily accept the fact that the Chiefs just simply outplayed Detroit, which, by all metrics, they really did. They did really outplay Detroit because Detroit's defense was wrecked beyond injuries. That secondary was fucking shattered because they have no cornerbacks whatsoever. And there was a lot of sloppy offensive play. I don't know why it got so conservative. But you cannot tell me there was some blatant ref ball on that game. That illegal motion that Goff had was pretty bad. The Kelsey catch that was actually not a catch was actually really, really, really bad. And Mahomes flat out taunted right in front of Brian Branch, and yet somehow he didn't get flagged for it. It was ridiculous. And not to mention, Juju Smith-Schuster got bitched out by Brian Branch because he got punched in the face. And Branch was the only one that got any sort of repercussions. This league is fucking soft sometimes, man. But I certainly digress. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be much of a contest. And further proof that the AFC is fucked beyond belief. Because the Chiefs did not look all that great the first 3 weeks. And now they're starting to come back and bullshit their way through the division again. So yeah, I just don't know how to really think about that. It's kind of a depressing time if you're an AFC West fan. So Chiefs are going to win. Not much more needs to really be said about it. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Next up, we've got the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. Rev up the engines, boys, because we got a tank ball. This game is going to be fucking ugly from start to finish, I can already tell. The Dolphins coming off of a heartbreaking loss to the LA Chargers. And the Dolphins, they're just finding new ways to lose, man. It's actually kind of sad. When you have Darren Waller balling out on you, you know your offense is a little bit misconstruing because Tua has not been looking great. He's throwing teammates under the bus with these practice or like player meetings that apparently he's not showing up for. The Dolphins are just a fucking mess at this point, and honestly, as much as I hate to say it, Mike McDaniel's probably going to get fired here soon, man. Like, again, that performance against the Bills saved him maybe another month, but it's just not going to work, dude. And I like Mike McDaniel, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think he was I just don't think he was cut out for being a head coach. And yeah, the Dolphins, they're just screwed. Speaking of being screwed, the Browns. Well, it's Cleveland. Well, what else do you expect? Yeah, they did not look all that good against the Steelers. Dylan Gabriel threw the ball 52 times. Jesus Christ, mate. I mean, Quinshon Judkins is a stud, don't get me wrong, but good God, he couldn't even do anything. Yeah, this is going to be a brutal game to watch, I have a feeling. On paper, the Dolphins should win, but that defense is bad, dude. That is a pretty poor defense that they have. So, yeah, I don't think this game is going to be good whatsoever. On paper, the Dolphins should win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland wins. But I'm going to say the Dolphins because at least they have some talent on offense. But their defense is just, it's completely poo-poo caca. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins, but I don't have much confidence in them. And then, this is going to be an interesting one here. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Minnesota Vikings. Will Carson Wentz get his revenge? We'll find out this Sunday. The Eagles. Good Lord, dude. It's fucking frustrating to watch this team, dude. Like, there's like 4 teams that are frustrating to watch, and Philly is probably the top one because I've even said this to Philly fans, and they even agree with me here. There is no way this offense with this much talent should look unbelievably flat. Saquon isn't moving the ball all that much. Jalen Hurts is overthrowing dudes when he has a clean pocket. You know, A.J. Brown and especially Devontae Smith are creating drama off the field. It's getting ridiculous. And yes, I understand that without Jalen Carter and Quinyon Mitchell got banged up against the Giants. But good God, dude, how do you make the Giants O-line look competent? They got bitched out by Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo, and they just could do nothing. That Hurts pick was terrible near the end of the game, and A.J. Dillon fumbled it for the hell of it. So, yeah, they need to get their head on straight, dude, because if they're not going to, they're going to have another 2023 season. And trust me, we don't want to see that now, do we? But yeah, the Eagles right now, they need to get their shit together, or else they're not going to be a convincing team going into the playoffs, despite the fact they are the top team in the NFC East right now. Meanwhile, the Vikings, on the other hand, they just came off of having a nice bye week, and I'm still curious to see how this team is going to be, because they got them beating the Browns a couple weeks ago, and Carson Wentz looked okay for the most part. He did have a nice throw to Jordan Addison, but yeah, I think McCarthy is still out for a little bit. I think he might be coming back maybe next week. I didn't see any updates on him. That O-line is getting wrecked. The defense is doing good for what it's trying to be, but they are getting guys back from injury. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting game to see here. Will Carson Wentz get his revenge? Honestly, he might, but I don't want to really pick Philly, because I have a feeling I'm gonna be, I'm going to be wrong again. But Philly, again, they need to get their stuff together, man, because if they want to have another Super Bowl under their resume, they need to get their stuff together. So I am going to go with Philly for this one, because on paper they do have a better squad. They just need to have some guys play better. Like, Hurts needs to quit overthrowing dudes. Saquon needs to get the ball more. They need to do something. That's what they need to do. They just need to do something. So I'm going to go with Philly. If they let me down again, then I'm going to unleash scorched earth on this team, because there's no way, like I said, there's no way that a team that has this much talent on it should look so unbelievably flat. So I'm going to go with Philly, but you better not fail me there, Philadelphia. Speaking of the team that they beat, next up we've got the New York Giants, not the New Jersey Giants, the New York Giants, versus the Denver Broncos. So, speaking of an ass whipping, the Giants had probably the best win that they've had in God knows how long. Like, that was a statement victory they had over the Eagles. And Jackson Dart, despite the fact he got banged up and they had to have old-ass Russell Wilson be in there for one throw, Dart looked really damn good. Cam Scatabo had himself a hell of a game. And that O-line was looking really, 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 really good. Now, their offense is still not the best. They are really missing Malik Neighbors out there. And, Wan'Dale Robertson did okay, but they still don't have that wide receiver one. They don't have a guy that's really going to step up and be the wide receiver one that Malik Neighbors is. But you know what? The defense is looking a little bit better. Joe Shane and Brian Dable are begging for Dart to save their jobs, and that's what they basically did after last week. But they are going up against a really damn good defense in the Broncos, so they're going to be having some trouble there. But meanwhile, Denver, Jesus goddamn Christ, that was an ugly game they had against the Jets. Like, Bo Nix wasn't terrible. He was just okay at best. Like, he only overthrew the ball like a couple times, which is better than some of his other performances. But their offense really can't get anything going. Like, the play calling was just very weird in that game. I don't know what Sean Payton was doing, but he was getting a lot more conservative than we actually thought he was. So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure how to fully feel about that. But, yeah, the Broncos right now, I mean, they're second in the division right now behind the Chargers, but I don't know. I just have a feeling Casey's going to bullshit their way to another division title, but yeah, this one's going to be kind of an interesting game, because on paper, Denver does have a better team. But I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to pick New York. Only because I want to see how the Giants play against that defense. Because if Dart can play good against that defense and Cam Scatabo can start getting some runs, I can see the Giants winning this game, really. I don't know. I just do not trust Bo Nix. I really don't. I'm not a believer. The only person I believe in is Bo Dallas. That's all. That's a cut for you wrestling fans. But I don't know. I have the Giants. I'm going to pick the Giants here because I do think that they have that grit and they're coming off of a big, big, big win. If the Giants lose, I wouldn't be shocked. But fuck it. I'm going for the upset here, and I'm going to pick New York to get the victory over Denver. Following that, oh my god, this game is going to be fun, isn't it? We've got the Indianapolis Colts versus the LA Chargers. The Colts, what in the hell is happening, man? Like, seriously, look at the teams that are leading in their respective divisions, It's like we went back to like 2008 or some shit because you have the Steelers winning the North, the Patriots leading the East, the Colts winning the South, and the Chargers winning the West. It's like we went back in time and we have Roethlisberger, Brady, Manning, and Rivers leading the division. Like, it's weird, dude. It's very, very, very weird. But the Colts had a very sneaky competitive game against the not Atlanta, against the Arizona Cardinals, and where the defense was really letting up a lot in that game. And that did give me some red flags because their defense was looking really damn good for the past few weeks, but starting to let up just a little bit. Daniel Jones is looking really damn good as always. Jonathan Taylor is so fucking underrated. And that O-line is really helping Jones out a lot. So, who knows? Maybe Daniel Jones might actually be the future for Indy. I don't really know. There was a lot of weird injuries in that game too, where you had where Kyler Murray. You know what? I'll get to that here in the other game actually, but. Yeah, you had Charvarius Ward getting hurt and during warm-ups, which he's been having a rough couple of years with a lot of personal stuff. And also, apparently, Anthony Richardson broke his oblique, or not his oblique, he had an orbital bone fracture because of an elastic band. What the fuck is going on in Indy, dude? It's weird, but they're winning games. They're 5-1 right now, which is weird to think. Meanwhile, the Chargers, on the other hand, came off of a pretty gritty win over the Miami Dolphins. Justin Herbert was looking a little bit better. Ladd McConkey had a really great play at the end of the game. It's just their O-line's wrecked. Like, they're going to be getting Joe Alt back soon, which is good. They're still without Rashawn Slater for the season, and their defense is still getting hurt. They have Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart's still playing on the team, by the way. What? I don't get it. And yes, their running back room's a bit of a mess because Amari Hampton's still out with an injury. Najee Harris is out for the season, so they had to go back to Vidal to run the ball, and he did all right, I guess. So this one right here might actually be a pretty fun matchup here because this is probably going to be a big test for the Colts here because while the Chargers defense is banged up, it is still pretty solid. It's just the O-line just needs help, and that's really about it. Man, this one I honestly went back and forth between because on one hand, both teams looked impressive in their wins, even though they were really, really, really close. It's being played in LA. You know what? Sorry, Colts fans, but I'm going to give the slight edge to the Chargers here. Yes, the Colts have a big winning streak going for them, but I have a feeling the Chargers are going to win this game off of like a field goal or something like that, or like a last-minute play. Because I feel like that defense is going to get the Jones one way or the other, and it's eventually going to cost them the game at the end. But you know what? As long as we get a good game out of it, and at least if Jones looks pretty good, then that's all that really matters to me. But I do think that the Colts are going to have a really good game against the Chargers, but I do think that LA is going to get the victory over here just by a narrow margin. Well, see, I just talked about Kyler Murray. Next up, we've got the Green Bay Packers versus the Arizona Cardinals. The Packers, that was a bit of a close one against the Bengals there. Jordan Love had a pretty bad pick at the first half, but didn't really matter much in the outset. The Packers were able to stop Joe Flacco a few times. Their defense is still not as strong as it once was, but Josh Jacobs is looking good. Jordan Love is being a little more consistent, even though he is starting to have some Brett Favre-isms. But yeah, the Packers right now, they're on a roll. They're technically winning the NFC North, which is weird because they have one tie, but it's whatever, I guess. But meanwhile, the Cardinals, on the other hand, how does Jacoby Brissett look better than Kyler Murray? It's weird to think. Yeah, so Kyler Murray got injured last week, or the week beforehand against the Titans, where the ball hit him in the helmet, but he has a foot injury. It's like saying I slammed my hand on a car door, and I stubbed my pinky toe, and I'm out for there. I don't know. It's just very, very, very strange. But yeah, the Cardinals came up with a close win over against the or a close loss against the Colts here. So yeah, this one on paper doesn't look that close. I think the Packers are going to win this game. If Jacoby Brissett is playing still, then he might make it a bit of a closer contest because I'm sorry, Kyler is just not the guy. But I do think that the Cardinals are going to be able to make it close, but I think the Packers are going to win this game here. So I'm going to go with the Packers with this one. This one should be a pretty easy victory here unless Jordan Love decided to go blah. But I do think that Green Bay is going to get the victory here. So enjoy it, Cheeseheads, while you last. Next up, we have an NFC East matchup. We've got the Washington Commanders versus the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams coming off of heartbreaking losses. And man, it's looking a little ugly in the NFC East. You know that the NFC East is fucked beyond belief when the Giants are the only teams that won their game last week. Because Washington, like I said when I talked about the Bears last week, had a terrible fumble. And yes, I know that the weather was bad and Jaden Daniels wasn't really playing the best. But you can't bobble a pass like that and just manage to give it up in the end zone and give up a game-winning field goal to Jake Moody of all people. You just can't do that. Just Washington right now is just a weird team. I figured they were going to be as spectacular as they surprisingly were last year. I figured they were taking a little bit of a dip, but it's just looking like a weird season for them. And meanwhile, Dallas, good fucking lord, dude. That defense is terrible beyond belief. Like, they're literally the Bengals from last year, where Dak Prescott, I'll give him credit, is looking like an MVP. But good God, dude, it doesn't matter when your team is giving up 30 points to the Panthers. The Panthers. Good God, dude, it's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Ugh, good grief. This is going to be a pretty interesting game here. I think Prescott's going to do good because Washington's defense has never really been that great. But this might be a back and forth affair because, again, the Cowboys have no defense. And Washington doesn't have that much of a defense either. So I'm going to say Dallas, even though I'm saying it out of pure spite. But I'm going to go with Dallas here. I just think that Dak is going to do pretty well against that Commanders defense, but I don't think it's going to be that great of a game. But I think Dallas is going to win here because they just have more talent on their team. And then for Sunday Night Football, this one on paper looks interesting, but oh boy, I'll get to that here in a second. We've got the Atlanta Falcons versus the San Francisco 49ers. The Falcons, what a statement they had over the Buffalo Bills. It was mainly the Drake London and Bijan Robertson show. Like, they were running all over that poor excuse of a secondary that the Bills have. And Michael Penix had a pretty solid game. He didn't do a whole hell of a lot. He was just told, hey, just make some great throws and we'll be good from there. And that's essentially what they did. But man, that defense was lighting up Josh Allen like all day. They were making him run for his life. And yeah, I got to give credit to that pass rush, man. That pass rush is really damn good. So Atlanta are a bit on a roll right now. Meanwhile, the Niners, it's just heartbreaking at this point, man. Like, this team has been plagued with injuries. Because not only is a good chunk of their offense gone, but their defense is gone as well. Because not only did they lose Nick Bosa due to a torn ACL, they lost Fred fucking Warner with an ankle injury. And he is done for the season. And that was a bad injury. Like, it got dislocated and fractured. I would be shocked if Warner's even like 80% by the time he'll be coming back next season. But yeah, your best defensive guy is out for the season. Like, good God, dude, it is ridiculous the amount of injuries that this team had. They are literally a mortuary at this point. And you know your team is screwed beyond belief when the most healthy guy is Christian McCaffrey, who has Achilles tendonitis. Seriously, I just don't understand, man. I just don't understand. This one's going to be an ugly game. I have a feeling like Atlanta on paper should just flat out dominate the Niners, but the Niners have been putting up some fights. Like, they didn't lay down and die against the Bucks, even though Mac Jones didn't play that great of a game. He did better than some other quarterbacks would do when they have like literally like no one to throw to whatsoever. So, there's that. But also, I think George Kittle should be coming back, so at least there's that. We don't know how Brock Purdy is going to be. So you've got that going for it. But I'm going to go with Atlanta for this one because they have the least amount of injuries, even though Jake Matthews suffered that ankle injury. But yeah, the Niners right now, like Robert Saleh, I give you all the credit in the world, man, but I think it's far beyond saving at this point. But yeah, I'm going to give it to the not the Niners. I'm going to give it to the Falcons here, but the Niners might be able to make this a bit of a competition. Which leads us to the last doubleheader of the season, hopefully. We've got probably the match of the week for me personally. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions. The Bucs, through trials and tribulation, are the best team of the NFC right. I'd tell you the best team in the league right now. Because not only are they persevering through the shit ton of injuries that they have right now, they are looking so damn fun to watch. Baker Mayfield is having an MVP-like year. And he's throwing passes to guys that are not a number one wide receiver. All of his big receivers are out because Bucky Irving's out with an injury, Emeka Egbuka is out with a hamstring injury, Chris Godwin is still battling injuries, and Mike Evans is still out with an injury. So your receivers are Sterling Shepard, Jalen McMillan, Cameron Johnston, and Tez Johnson. Who's who of who? Exactly, but yeah, this team is just persevering through all of that, despite the fact they have a shit ton of injuries on their list too. Meanwhile, the Lions, on the other hand, that was an ugly loss against the Chiefs. And look, I said it before. Yes, there was a lot of bullshit calls going their way. Like Kelsey was holding some guys down, and there were some taunting penalties that never got called. But now you got Brian Branch that's suspended for a game because again he punched Juju in the face. And, the Lions have no secondary whatsoever. All their guys are hurt. And the Bucs don't really have all their offensive weapons. So, I mean, we'll see how this goes, man. I can see Tampa Bay try to sneak one out, but I think the Lions are going to win here. Because, again, the Bucs' offense is just wrecked with injuries. And the Lions' secondary is wrecked with injuries. So this might be a back-and-forth game, really. But I could see Detroit coming out with the victory here and picking up where they left off after last week. So I'm going to go with Detroit here, but this should be a fun game nonetheless. And then the final game of the week, this one's a pretty weird matchup. We've got the Houston Texans versus the Seattle Seahawks. The Texans, they're coming off of a bye week, and I don't know, Houston at this point, they just feel like they're just kind of there for the most part. Like, they're not doing anything that's been like eye-grabbing, but they're at least making some games interesting, I guess. I don't know. They're just kind of a bland team this year to me. Meanwhile, Seattle, on the other hand, they just come off of beating a fellow AFC South opponent in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, that was close for a good chunk of the game, but man, that defense, so damn good. They sacked Lawrence 7 times in that game. And Sam Darnold wasn't really doing a whole lot in the game. He was just told to make some good throws. But that bomb to JSN, so damn good. So damn good. And Sam Darnold, he's looking fucking great as well. He's picking up where he left off after Minnesota. So, yeah, Seattle right now, they're on a roll. They're like butter. They're on a roll. But this one might be a bit of a close matchup here, but I could see Seattle taking the victory here. Even though their secondary is banged up as well, I can see Seattle winning this game, even though Houston's defense is still really damn good. They just need to figure out their offense. I can see the Texans making this somewhat of a close game, but I am going to go with Seattle to get the win and continue their reign of being kings of the NFC West. So that, folks, is my predictions for Week 7. Again, this has been a weird fucking year so far. Weird season so far for the NFL, but it's only going to get weirder from here. Trust me. I've seen this story played out a few times. But anyways, Who you think is going to win? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, tap that big subscribe button, and tap the bell so when I upload, you guys will be notified. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Most importantly, join the herd. Talk to you guys next video. Peace out.